Hey mamas, this is Playfully Faithful Parenting, and I'm your host, Joy Wendling. I'm a seminary grad and children's and family minister turned stay-at-home mom to my 5 girls. Spiritual parenting is my calling, and it's my passion to help other mamas disciple their kids using the power of play and their own authentic daily walk with Christ. If you're a mama who wants to introduce your kids to Jesus and watch as the Holy Spirit transforms their lives, this is the place for you. I'm so glad you're here. So let's dive in and see how we can partner with God today. Hello, mamas, and welcome to Playfully Faithful Parenting. I'm your host, Joy. So grateful you are here with me today. This week, we are celebrating 1 full year of Playfully Faithful Parenting. I'm so grateful for you. And as I record this intro, I have just seen some newest charts, and Playfully Faithful Parenting hit number 12 in the parenting charts in Nigeria. That is so exciting. That's a new country. We haven't been on the charts there yet. And to make a debut there on their charts at number 12 and then number 18 in the kids and family, which is an even broader, bigger section of podcasts, is so humbling. It's so incredible. So thank you all. And whoever in Nigeria is listening, thank you. Welcome to Playfully Faithful Parenting. I'm so glad you are joining me. We are going to do a special episode on Thursday, but for today, I have an interview with someone that I randomly met on Instagram. So she posted a reel of her kids playing at this park. And not like a playground park, but like a park with, it's on this beautiful little peninsula part of Fidalgo Island in the city of Anacortes called Washington Park. And there is this very particular tree. And when you are looking at the tree, you see water and then Allen Island in the background. And so I saw her girls on this reel on this tree, and I was like, hey, that is Washington Park. And so I messaged her, and it ends up that she is a Christian, a mom of 6, and she has just come out with her first children's book. Her name is Bronwyn Mullen, and she sent me a copy of her book, which takes place on a place called Guimas Island, which my girls and I love to ride over. It's a super short little 15-minute ferry ride, and we go over and there's fun little park that we play at and just enjoy spending a couple hours over there. There's not really much to do on Guimas, but my girls just love the little ferry ride and playing at this new to them playground. And so the girls thought it was so cool that this book called Little Miss Muffin was set on Guimas Island and that we've been there. And so she is just been so fun to get to know. Bronwyn has. And so I invited her on the podcast to share about her book and discipling her kids and play in her family. So I hope you enjoy this episode and this conversation with Bronwyn. Hello, Bronwyn. Thank you so much for joining us on Playfully Faithful Parenting. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing really good. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Can you take a moment and just introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, I would love to. So my name's Bronwyn Mullen, and I have 6 kids. I have some older kids, and then my youngest, I have twins that are going to be 3 and a little 4-year-old girl. So lots of momming going on over here. And then I also just wrote my first children's book the end of last year. And so I'm running Little Miss Muffin Books.
That's so fun. And it was so fun how we met on Instagram just because you posted a reel in a location that I recognized and not too far from me. So that was a fun connection.
Yes, definitely. I love getting to know more people around here and what people's stories are and how we all come together. It's so fun.
Yes, yes. So on our podcast, we define Christian parenting as living out your authentic faith in front of your kids and inviting them to get to know who God is. We do this based on Deuteronomy 6, verses 4 through 9. What does Christian parenting mean to you, and what's it look like in your family?
Yeah, well, I love that. And that's such a powerful few verses because we are supposed to be teaching our kids nonstop about the Lord. And I guess I really feel like the more I can be a disciple of Jesus, the more I know what to teach my kids, so I feel like our learning goes so hand in hand in that way. Um, and I try my best to keep it fun. I think, I don't know who said it, but, how are kids going to learn to love God if our parents are grumpy and stomping around and not having that joyful spirit? It's not very enticing to know Jesus and stuff. So there's a lot of just my own personal growth and staying really connected to God on my own, and then that over spills into my life with my kids. But we do a lot of things. We memorize Bible verses. We love to do little songs, make up little songs to do that with. We have a lot of books, a lot of different good books, and I'm kind of picky about books, but a lot of them are Christian books, and a lot are just fun or beautiful, different things like that. Um, we have different verses that are pinned up on our walls at different times. If there's things that I'm working on and need to see them, and I'll say them out loud. um, we'll sing songs in the car when we're going for walks. One thing, there's a lot of parks around here now that it's summertime. We'll go into these park bathrooms with all these littles, who are like potty training. But um, the first thing they do is they start singing Jesus Loves Me, and it echoes everywhere, So we've met several people that love the Lord just from my little girls singing Jesus Loves Me in the bathrooms. It's a little becoming their little ministry. It's cute.
That's so fun. Oh, how cute. I love that. And I really like how you started by talking about pursuing Christ yourself and how important that is. I think that's just such a great message and such a good reminder for all of us moms that our own faith and our own pursuit of Jesus is like the place where we need to start when we want our
Mm,
kids to know the Lord.
yes.
So tell me a little bit more. You mentioned fun and that kind of thing. Tell me a little bit more about play and how your family likes to play at home in faith, discipleship, all those fun things.
Yeah, I would love to. So, it looks different, I guess, depending on who's home. So I have three big kids and three littles. When my older kids were a little bit younger, I did a lot of youth group stuff. So we played. I wanted them to have friends that would pursue God with them and make it a fun activity. So we would go to coffee shops a lot. We go to church like worship nights, when they had special people come in, and kind of special events or special coffee or muffins, anything that kids love to do, and then invite their friends to come. So that's kind of with my older kids, some fun play things we do. And then the younger kids, we do lots of things. I mean, Play-Doh, building little animals, talking about Noah's Ark, just any chance I can get anything in through our regular kind of play. And it's funny, I think one of the first things I saw when I saw your website or your you on Instagram was, how do you play? Like, what kind of playing style are you? And my mom has always been great at like role playing and having little dolls and figures and let's make them do this. And I'm like, I've never been good at that. And I've always felt like it's like a place where I lack. And seeing that just recently, I realized I'm so playful because I'm singing all the like singing and telling little stories is how I play, with my kids. So I'm actually very playful, and it was very inspiring and encouraging that I'm not just a failure as a playful mom, but all of these little songs we make up. We made up one today because we had ballet pictures, and they were having a hard time getting, they had to have full hair and makeup and costume on the way to pictures. And we made up a little song to help with their behavior, and they really caught it. And half of it, they just get busy singing along with you. So I think that we do have a couple games we play, like, especially if their daddy's home. He's really good at playing games like Hi Ho Cherry-O and different things, and taking turns and learning some of those skills of being kind. There's a lot of that right now, just being kind and sharing and checking in with my own self, that I'm being patient and the fruits of the spirit are alive in me, you know. And when they're not, being humble and asking for them to forgive me and stuff like that, I think. So we have a lot of fun though. Lots of family walks. We like to go walking and hiking, and as much outdoors in God's creation. That's kind of my happy place. So we play a lot outdoors and the wonder of it all. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I love that recognizing your play style was encouraging to you. And that is one thing that is one of my goals for this podcast and my ministry, is that parents would recognize that play doesn't have to look a certain way.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be a certain time frame. It doesn't mean you have to, go find this big craft on Pinterest and commit tons of time and energy into it. That play can be, that 30-second song that you sing as you're changing a diaper or
yes.
while you're getting shoes on. So that's really great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for all the work you're doing on that, because
Oh,
it was really when we feel, it's empowered to like do the work, anything like that, those tips and tricks and understanding of what it looks like is a game changer. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm so grateful.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. So, speaking of keep going, you've got this book series that you just started and you're going to keep going on it. But
Yeah.
my girls and I, we read it when it came in the mail last week, and we read it
Okay.
together. And it was just so fun, partially because we just went to Guimas about 2 months ago. So, this little island near
Yeah.
us. For those who aren't in the Pacific Skagit Valley area. So, in Washington, we've got this little island that's off of another island called Guimas Island, and that is the setting for your book. So, tell us more about this book.
Oh, that's really fun that you just went there. So it's kind of fresh in your mind.
Yes.
Yeah, so I grew up actually on that little island when I was about one. I think we moved there. So that was my beginning, and I stayed there till I was about 14. But we didn't have, there was a little ferry. It's a little 7-minute ferry to get over there. And there weren't any stores there. There's one now. But there weren't any stores. There's no stoplights. It's a very small island. So we would go off island about once a week. And most of our time was spent at home, exploring the island. And we had a little rowboat as kids that we were allowed to go out in. Once, if our parents were there, we'd spend lots of time on the beach, lots of times picking vegetables. We had our own garden, grew a lot of our own food. We had some goats. And my book is just like capturing some of those sweet memories, with a fun, kind of playful, rhyming way of things that were fun and special and important in my family, and ways to encourage other kids and readers to have fun doing things that aren't necessarily just all modern day um, activities. So one of the things, my book is called Little Miss Muffin. And when I was about 7, I just started loving to bake. Baking anything was my favorite thing. And so muffins were kind of my favorite because I still love muffins, kind of like a cake. But I would wake up really early, make muffins, and bring them down to the ferry line and sell them up the ferry line because there weren't any stores. And so um, my mom would go for a walk or something, bring me there. I'd sell all my muffins, and then we'd go home. And I actually saved up enough money to buy a dog. So I did a lot of hustling with muffins. But yeah, it's a really sweet book. It's really been so fun to share with my family. So fun to hear feedback of people, really enjoying to hear it because it's a simplistic, kind of wholesome life, without all the distractions, and it's really kind of a beautiful setting and all of that. So I also got to write it with my oldest daughter. She did all the illustrations, so that was very precious. And there's lots more fun stories to come with that. Lots of fun moments for getting together and figuring out which ones are going to be the most meaningful and fun and stand out. So
That's such a great story. I wasn't sure if it was one of your children that it was based off of, or you, or what. And then that your oldest daughter, you said, illustrated
yeah,
it.
yes.
Wow, my daughters loved the illustration. So we have
Oh, good.
5 girls and all with different shades of blonde hair. And so the
Oh,
girls were
oh,
like, "Oh, it's us." And
I love that.
yes, and I was like, "Well, actually, I think this one's a boy, but, that's okay because our
Yeah.
youngest has really short blonde hair, and so it could be
Oh,
her." And, so they just really resonated with the family because we have 5 and there were, I
yes.
think, 5 kids in
There is,
there, and,
yeah. There's one boy in our family, but there was 5 of us, so
yes.
oh, that's so sweet. I love that.
Yes, and so how old is your oldest daughter?
She's 22. She
Okay.
just graduated college, last month, so we had a big celebration for her, but she is super artistic and creative, and she's squeezed this in for me because she's a
Wow.
blessing. Yeah.
Yes. What a fun project to do together, and especially knowing that you have more stories and just that relationship that you guys get to share and play and be creative
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. It was huge. I think she really showed me just how much she cared about me by it being invested in it and wanting to hear about it and just getting excited with me over every step of it, and some of the stories she hadn't heard before and she wanted to know more, it really gave her like a glimpse of who I was, um and then vice versa, my respect for all of the things that she knows how to do that I do not, like my part in it that was different than hers. So it was really fun. Definitely.
So this is an unplanned question because I didn't realize that about the illustrations. So how do you have any tips for parents of littles, cuz most of our parents who listen have younger children.
Yeah.
So any tips to foster that relationship of where you guys can you enjoy working together on a project, like something from her growing up that helped really to solidify that relationship?
Yeah. I would say she is an absolute blessing, and she has been her whole life just a joy and very compassionate and somebody who wants to please and is happy doing things for people. So I think that really helps. But I feel like my whole parenting journey has been about staying close. It's been really important to me that no matter what we go through and what happens, that we communicate a lot and we talk through the stuff. And I try to dig into what is underneath what's going on for them. Excuse me. What what is underneath those feelings, and then help them see that through kind of the lens of Jesus. So I don't know if that is what has helped, but I'm guessing that it's given us a safe place to talk through anything, if that makes sense. I think communication is one of the biggest things in relationship with anybody, and so having that respect, like mutual respect for each other as a child and a parent, keeps a relationship close. If you know I care about you and I know you care about me, we can get through just about anything. Um, and then we have lots more time for fun and playing, you know? So,
And I love how you talked about seeing what was underneath and connecting that with Jesus. I think that is so important. And I know that there are some parents who are really good about seeing what's underneath, and there are some parents who are really good about talking about Jesus, but being able to do both of those together is
yeah.
it takes some intentionality.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a really great point. My family has just loved the book, so thank you so much for sharing that. We look forward to more. And how like it's just so much more special knowing that you worked on that with your daughter. I love that shared creativity in that project together. So my last question for you is I believe that mamas need play just as much as kids. So how do you personally like to play, Bronwyn?
That's a very good question. I think as moms, it's hard to prioritize that, because there's so much going on. But I I really like to dance around, even if it's just 30 seconds, with my kids. Um, I love to go on hikes and be outside. So a lot of these things we do as a family or with the kids are because it's playful for me, and I change when I get myself moving in that way. Um, I really like decorating and throwing parties, like for all their birthday parties and things like that. It's very fun to have, think of a theme and have throw things together. But I find that it brings me a lot of joy and feels playful to put that kind of thought and you know decide what to do and what not to have and all that stuff. So that's fun. Same with kind of cooking, and I really like to be in the kitchen cooking and baking and thinking of fun things for a family meal planning. So those feel like mom playing to me.
Yes, absolutely. The of those play personalities, the director loves to plan events and plan parties, and so that's probably
Okay,
one of your play personalities.
that's very helpful to know. I
Yes.
like that. Okay.
Yes. That is my oldest. That's her main play personality, and, like, she's only 9, but she has already planned her career, and she's gonna have a Christian dance studio, and she's planned her
Oh,
first recital already, the
oh my
themes,
gosh.
costumes, all of that. So,
That is precious. I feel like I would be friends with her.
yes.
I get that.
So that's definitely the director play style.
Okay. Well, I'm going to read up more on that. That's such helpful information.
Yes. Yes. So, so fun. Well, Bronwyn, thank you so much. It has just been such a pleasure to A, read your book, and then B, find out more about it and learn about you and your family and how you guys pursue Jesus together through play. So thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you, Joy. It's been wonderful to be on here with you and to hear more about what you're doing and to be encouraged by you. It really blesses me. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Isn't she an incredible mama? Wow. It was such a blessing to talk with her. I hope that interview was an encouragement to you as well. If you would like to find her book that we chatted all about, you can find a link to it in the show notes, or you can find her on Instagram at Little Miss Muffin Books. She will send you the book with free shipping if you send her a DM on Instagram and mention you heard her podcast episode. Have a great week, Mama. Bye. Well, Mamas, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me on Playfully Faithful Parenting. I'd love to keep the conversation going over on the socials. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you felt encouraged or equipped by today's show, do me a favor and leave a review. I can't wait to hear your story. Till next week, keep playing and pointing those littles to Christ.